Ladies and gentlemen, NPR, Senate passes bill to give police protection to families of Supreme Court justices. About 5 hours ago, NBC News, Senate passes bill to provide security for family members of Supreme Court justices. CNN, senators quickly pass bill to expand security for families of Supreme Court justices. 10 hours ago, ABC News, Senate passes bill to boost security for Supreme Court. Gee, why is this taking place? Let's see. What political side is yet again causing havoc and chaos, focusing on one day in Trump's administration while ignoring an entire summer? Now, granted, you can say, well, the cause was different and it was a noble cause. That's fine. I agree with the cause of people expressing their First Amendment rights 2 summers ago. But I don't agree with $1 to $2 billion in property damage. That's just insured property damage. And around 20 lives lost according to Wikipedia. And so you look at, it's so interesting how Democrats and morally superior, wonderful, highly educated liberal journalists and pundits, you have people on Twitter, and I'm not on Twitter for this reason. Well, one of the reasons is you get the most absurd and irrational comments or takes on politics. Like you get journalists saying, these justices shouldn't have a moment of peace. If you disagree with me or you disagree with left-leaning liberal Democrats, you shouldn't have a moment of peace. And so then nobody has a moment of peace. And so then how do you have a functioning democracy? These are the people who opine on democracy. These are the people who comment and pontificate and give these sermons on democracy. They don't know the meaning of the word. What is the point of intimidating families of the Supreme Court? You cheated Bernie Sanders. I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post in 2016. I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. This is before I became a supporter of President Trump. Donald Trump presided over record lows in unemployment. We had the Doha Agreement, reversed U.S. foreign policy, 20 years of Lincoln Project foreign policy, first president to step foot in North Korea, Abraham Accords, and all they can talk about now is what Esper or anyone said in a book. All they have is gossip and hearsay about Trump, and he presided over greater foreign policy achievements than any of his recent predecessors. And certainly better than mashed potato brains, our president, who has the worst geopolitical nightmare in modern European history, while during his tenure, along with skyrocketing inflation, contracting GDP, everything that I talked about and predicted, we're heading into a recession, and we're seeing a stock market crash unfold. And I told everyone this. And that's below in the pinned comment, my article in October in the Federalist. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. We're almost at 200,000 subs on this channel, ladies and gentlemen. On the Stock Market Crash channel, we're about 20,000 subs, almost 20,000, 18,000 or so, 19. But hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, and this is a very important segment because they're so upset and they want to intimidate these justices. It's like, well, you wouldn't have had 3 Supreme Court justices that are conservative, or a conservative Supreme Court, I should say, under Trump, 3 justices. You would have had, I believe, and I think that it would have been the case, even though I support Trump and DeSantis, infinitely better than what we have now. Something about like a great economy and a great foreign policy. Anyone opposed by the Lincoln Project, I will vote for. And the Lincoln Project opposes Trump, DeSantis, Tulsi Gabbard. So if you're opposed by the Lincoln Project, I'll vote for you. If the Lincoln Project is on the same side as Bernie Sanders, well then, you know what? I learned my lesson. But Bernie Sanders at that moment in time, in 2016, would have defeated Trump narrowly. You might disagree, fine. But that was a populist moment in American politics. We still have those moments. And 2022 and 2024 will be those moments also. But it was a populist moment in American politics. And what they did was they cheated the only chance they had in Bernie Sanders in possibly defeating Trump. And I said Clinton would lose to Trump. So what's the point of trying to intimidate court justices when you should actually be looking at what happened? If you're on the left and you want to go to people's homes, and it's like, well, that's why people should embrace the Second Amendment. Okay? When I had an issue on Twitter, and of course, a wonderful left-leaning person tried to intimidate me, or actually do worse, much worse, I went to the police department, filed a police report on the person's Twitter profile. And the police said, hey, you know what? Basically, embrace the Second Amendment. The officer that helped me write the police report. And so I did. So I own firearms to protect myself and my family if, God forbid, somebody tried to do something to harm me. And so the justices shouldn't have to be in that position where they think, oh my God, at least I have the Second Amendment, or, oh my God, why are these people, I have to call police or have this protection because a whole bunch of maniacs are yelling outside, as if that's going to change. Like, do you think that going outside the justices' homes, Alito or any of the justices, Kavanaugh, you think that's going to change their mind? What kind of imbecile thinks that? This is an activity that only serves to empower, embolden, or, this is like performance art. You're not intimidating anybody. You're just actually making them more. When you try to intimidate somebody, they actually become more entrenched in their viewpoint. But the reality is, it was Democrats who did this to themselves. They cheated Bernie Sanders the only chance they had in 2016. They would have had a liberal Supreme Court. They wouldn't have had to deal with any of this stuff. And the mentality is so warped. I mean, these people are like, they live in a cult. And I know, I remember speaking and debating these people, and I said, look, you're going to lose. And I wrote in The Hill, the Huffington Post Salon, my writing went hundreds of thousands of Facebook likes and shares, and I said, you're going to lose. Oh, and a whole bunch of people wrote hit pieces on me, and it's I said, you're going to lose with Clinton. I said this 1,000,000 times over. I said favorability ratings, a whole bunch of issues, and they wouldn't listen. Excuse me, they wouldn't listen. And I said, if you go with Clinton, something like Comey, for example, wrote the Comey memo. The Comey letter, sorry. He owns a stationery store, this man. So the Comey letter. That wouldn't have happened with Bernie Sanders, and it was the Comey letter that sunk Clinton's campaign. But I said it there was so much scandal and controversy, and by the way, I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, or DeSantis 2024. Now, you might think I'm even more out of my mind. But we're still living in 2016. This is a simple concept to understand if you're on the left. Democrats, liberal pundits, YouTubers, they said, oh, fall in line, vote blue no matter who. There's so much at stake. The Supreme Court is at stake. You have to fall in line. Well, if you were born to serve the Democratic Party and give your heart and soul and your future to a political party, then yeah, you'd fall in line. If, for example, you had critical thinking skills and you said, I'm not going to reward a political party for engaging in behavior that leads to Debbie Wasserman Schultz being forced to resign and then immediately working for Clinton. And the DNC email showing that it was never fair and neutral, and all that money that Bernie Sanders got went to purchase a Steele dossier to set up and frame Trump. Okay? But you don't fall in line, and I told people, I said, look, I said, Bernie or bust. Don't blame Bernie or bust. And I'm I support Trump, but Bernie 2016, I didn't know that he was a tool of the Democratic Party. I thought he would be more like Trump. There's a direct line between Bernie 2016 and Trump 2024, DeSantis 2024. And all of that nonsense about how they're bad people, if you oppose the Democratic Party in anything, you're either a Kremlin operative or a bigot or both. Or you believe in conspiratorial theories, while the Democrats and media say that Trump was installed by another country. I mean, how much of an imbecile do you have to be to believe this nonsense? It's almost as if we needed a disinformation or governance board in 2016 to let people know that, oh, by the way, it wasn't fair and neutral, and oh, by the way, Trump wasn't installed by another country. Gee, how much, it's like all the information that they, give to the public through the media and through government officials that were apparently duped now. The Durham Probe Special Counsel has indicted three people thus far, one of whom is saying, oh, he was duped. James Baker, he didn't know that Michael Sussman wanted to work on behalf of the Clinton campaign. He didn't know. And so that's why he investigated Trump. He just didn't know. But anyway, and people say, why do you keep bringing up Bernie Sanders? Why do you keep bringing him up? It's like, I'm trying to explain something. This entire fiasco with the conservative judges overturning a decades-old law, very important to a lot of people. Democrats must look in the mirror. There's no point in intimidating anybody. You did it to yourself. You cheated the only candidate who could have won, and you had like one lone voice in me telling you you're going to lose in the Hill, the Huffington Post, and Salon. How many publications could I have been published in telling Democrats they were going to lose in 2016 to Trump? I said it a million times, even on YouTube. Nobody listened. They were pompous, arrogant, narcissists, and they didn't listen. Wrote hit pieces on me, and I told them, you are going to lose if you don't go with Bernie Sanders. And then the knock on me from the left is like, oh, how Bernie could still win. Oh, it was a primary that was predetermined. They don't even have a functioning primary. Why do you think Elizabeth Warren ran? To cut Bernie's movement in two. Became a gigantic bowel movement cut in two. And then, why do you think she said that she tried to spread gossip about what he said about Clinton or whatever, which was nonsense. She just made it up. And why do you think that, coincidentally, he lost in Iowa last second to Pete Buttigieg, who then promptly left right before, along with all these, right before Super Tuesday, they all left in conjunction with one another, immediately, a whole bunch of them. Who is it? Oh, God. What's her name also left? They all left. Okay, the whole thing was like a theatrical performance anyway. They don't have functioning primaries. Even the DNC lawyers stated they don't even need functioning primaries. So they cheated the only chance they had, and now we have to hear the screaming and the screeching. Okay, should I spend another 13 minutes repeating myself? I think I will. I could spend the whole 2 hours repeating myself. It's therapy for me. DeSantis fights. Trump fights back. If the Republicans tried to cheat him, there would be no Republican Party. When Democrats cheat Bernie, he says, "Thank you, May. I have another. This is fantastic. Oh, by the way, vote Democrat." AOC won't even vote for Medicare for all in the House. The House. I mean, at what point, if you're a left-leaning, far left person on Twitter or social media, at what point do you realize you're getting played? At what point? Bernie 2085, 86, 20, 31, 28? Bernie, 100 years from now, he's still going to be running, and then they're still going to be railroading him? And then maybe, in 46, 88, we'll have Medicare for all. Yay! You can't not vote. The damage Republicans can do. Oh, Trump, record low unemployment, Doha Agreement, First Step Act, only president ever to sign an executive order combating anti-Semitism on college campuses. What else? The first president stepped foot in North Korea. So many good things he did. But all you hear is, this government official stopped Trump from doing something horrible. And then they talk about information that isn't accurate. All they do is run with gossip and rumors. They did the same thing to Bernie Sanders. He honeymooned, you know where. Tulsi Gabbard is being set up by another country too. No, the Green Party is doing the bidding of another country. You're either doing the bidding of another country or of a horrible human being. And these people, you have to understand, liberal voters, or the morally superior among us, they purge themselves of like friends and family who vote for Trump. You understand? Well, they don't want to be anywhere near them. They'd much rather be next to, warmongers and people who just want interventions. As long as those people save the planet, then that's good. And they look in the mirror and say, I'm so moral, as I, disown a person I've known for 30 years because he committed the sin of voting for Trump. Trump is so mean. He insults people. Well, he was set up and framed by an entire public relations machine and government officials being indicted by the Durham Probe Special Counsel right now, or testifying. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Look, the way the Democratic Party works, they have voters who cannot possibly leave the Democratic Party. It is a cult. They'll lose all their friends and family. You have to understand, the mindset of a Democrat is if he or she votes for anyone other than, vote blue no matter who, they'll lose their friends and their family. They'll be ostracized on social media. They'll lose, any, support system or community they have, so they're petrified. They could never leave that paradigm. Oh, all of SNL and Jimmy Kimmel and all these people. Oh my God, all the cool people are voting Democrat. So, meanwhile, Democrats cheated their own candidate, Bernie Sanders, in a primary, and he would have won. But they can't accept that fact because they look in the mirror, it would hurt too much. So they blame the justices who are giving a ruling. Look, it's not in the Constitution. God. Now, do I agree with the ruling? No, I don't think, I actually don't agree with it, but if it's given back to the states, it's given back to the states. Again, I think that you look at it from the vantage point of, hey, you did this to yourself. Don't blame the justices. Don't blame Trump. Don't blame Bernie or bust. Blame the people who knew that if they ostracized and alienated and marginalized voters within their political party, they knew those voters wouldn't fall in line. And if you know that, and if you engage in a course of action, you will lose. And when you lose, it's like the meme where the person puts the tree branch in the spoke of his bicycle. It's like, Bernie Sanders, and then they, Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Those justices shouldn't be intimidated. But that's the way the left works. That's the way Democrats work. Okay? Then they say, the Republicans are so extreme. Or Trump is so extreme. As they intimidate Supreme Court justices. And then these are the people who pontificate about democracy. It's like, well, we have 3 branches of government. And yes, the Supreme Court has a right to make decisions without feeling like their lives are at risk. This is like a very difficult concept for people to understand on the left. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now to this channel.